obsessed with you. Okay, I'm just so obsessed with you for two reasons. One, you read my book, so I am bowing to you. I would give you a
I
gift
love it.
basket for life for that. Apples of the month or something. And my whole world was casting, auditioning, managing children, and nobody speaks that language, but you do, and I love, love, love that. And
Well, thanks for having me. Oh my God, I loved your book, and I started
oh,
following you afterwards because I was like,
how did
this
you even
story is just,
find? How did you even find the book?
it's so funny. I tend to pick up books either from I'm in like a book group on Facebook where people like just sort of like buy things and pass them and like, or I tend to like find, I think it was like a library in like out east on Long Island that had like a bunch of books for sale or for
Wow.
free, like outside. I was grabbing just as many as I could. And, sometimes you find things and you're like, okay, this is fine. But I was like,
I
God, this
love
is
it.
magic.
Wow.
That's
People,
serendipitous.
I actually have to do another trailer because my first one, it's too sparkly. This is like Morgan Freeman, powerful stuff. And I
Yeah.
stopped my book November 2019, basically. But what's happened since then is part two. I divorced my husband
Wow.
and remarried him within these, that was our third time getting married. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? So it's just, so you knowing the story, it's just, you have no idea how much that means to me. No idea. So,
Wild ride. I have nothing but respect for you, Marnie. Like
oh,
your journey is like just inspiring and wild. And it just like I think it gives like it's got like some humor in it too, which I, as a comedian, like I really connect to. And it's like it just gives you an idea of like, huh, I'm not crazy. Like
right.
everyone's got their stuff and like, okay, like I can do it, she's doing it,
I
so
talk about in my last episode I did in my podcast that when I was 10 in 1980, you're much younger, Joan Rivers,
not much.
well, whatever you are, just how old are you? I don't mean to be rude.
I'm 42.
Oh, as
Not
your
much.
elder of 54. When I in 1980, I read her book. I would listen, no, not read her, but listen to her record album. So at
Mm.
10 years old, instead of like listening to Physical with Olivia Newton-John, I was like, can we talk? I'm like, oh, please, or whatever, emulating Joan Rivers. Like, can we talk? Can we talk? And
Yeah.
humor at 10 years old became my everything. And then Star Search, I remember watching Rosie and all of them. It was like I loved this industry from like birth. And so falling into that, but I want to hear more about you and everything. But I just wanted to talk to you just first before I go into a podcast because I want to hear all about
Yeah.
you. And I saved a lot of things because I love that you do dialects. I love that because you could go from like New York to this.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love a dialect. I love a character. Characters are my favorite. Well, and that's a
No, no, I could sit there and do coffee talk with you. Like that is just my favorite.
coffee talk. Yes.
No, no, no. Brianna, my assistant, who you've been talking to, is like both
Mm.
of us we both adore you, and she's right here, and she's like,
Oh my
I love
God.
it. I know we love this. Um,
Great.
okay, so hey, fabulous friends, welcome to Fabulously Flawed. I am so excited because I am the president of her fan club, Brooke Turner, who is an actress. She is a content creator, a star in Amazon shows. You are an acting coach. You starred in Pamela and MTV Pranks, which shows your comedic side. And I want to know when you started acting, why comedy, revenge party, revenge prank sounds hysterical. Like, I love that. Is comedy your life? Because comedy is my life. Is that how you got into acting? Like, how did it all start for you?
Oh, it's that's so funny because I always thought I was funny, but I like my husband said one day, I mean, we'd been married, I don't know, a few years before I started doing improv, and he was like, "Oh, you're funny." And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've always been funny. Have I not been funny this whole time? So I didn't get into acting because of comedy first. I went the other way. I grew up as a dancer and
Oh, I love you more because I am Studio 54 years old. That is how old I am. Here is my disco ball because I have fallen apart so many times that I was like, I shine bright like a disco ball. So,
yeah,
yeah, so Studio 54 years old. So, dancing is everything. So, were you
it was.
contemporary, just jazz, all of it.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up doing, just the training that you do as a child, the tap, jazz, ballet, and then I
The
got into
bachelorette.
contemporary in college. And I was terrified to become an actor because I grew up in a really small town in Virginia, and there's no theater, there's no acting. People
Was it
don't.
near Newport News?
It is near Newport News.
Okay, okay. King Richard's. If you ever heard of that restaurant ever in your life, that was my Uncle Elliot's. And
Oh,
it was in Virginia
Cambridge.
Beach also.
Interesting. No, I don't think I've heard of it. I was probably further west than Newport News, so I mean, we didn't have anything in our town. We didn't have a
Oh,
Walmart.
wow.
I didn't
Hardee's
know
was a big deal. I remember like in
parties.
1980 driving in Virginia and finding a Hardee's. I was like, what?
Parties. Oh
Kids.
my God, biscuits. We still stop for biscuits when we go to Virginia. We're
See,
like, we
yeah,
got to
I
get
do,
chicken
right?
biscuits. Like that is the thing to do. So yeah, so there was just nothing, and I was terrified to become an actor. I wanted to do it. I actually went into college and declared my major as you could declare it as an actor, but you couldn't.
Right.
You have to audition for the BFA program
Gotcha.
after a couple of years. So you could go like, all right, I'm going to get a BA, and then I'll try for the BFA if this is working out. And then I stopped. I like went in as an acting major, and I was like, I can't do this. I'm not an actor. I've never acted. I'm going to
Right.
be embarrassed. And so I went back and undeclared, and then declared again.
Right. I love the declarathon. Love
The
it.
declarathon,
Love
yeah.
it.
You got to make declarations like that in life, I think, and then undeclare them and declare them again. So, so yeah, and then I was still terrified because I didn't have any theater. I had dance training, but not theater training, and I grew up in a Baptist church, so I had done plays at my church that my mom had put me in, but I was scared because everybody else seemed to come from high schools and middle schools where they had done theater.
Right.
I was so intimidated, and I was
Like
like,
I
no.
didn't go to fame. I wasn't at the high school performing arts.
Yeah. And so I don't know too if maybe, and that's where I met my husband. So I don't know too if I felt like I was funny, but I wasn't doing a lot of comedy because mostly I was just terrified to do anything. I was just trying to like do my best and like hide the fact that I didn't feel like I had as much, talent or experience as everybody else. I just felt like I was
Right.
climbing up the ladder. So yeah, I didn't get into comedy until later. But I've always loved it. I grew up watching Lucille Ball,
Oh,
and it's just, yeah, it's
comedy is, I
idol.
tell people, it doesn't take away your problems, but it's a vacation away from this moment. Laugh.
Yeah.
Like I grew up, stand-up comedy just saved my life. Eddie Murphy with the ice
Ah,
cream, Eddie Murphy, like nobody gets it. I'm like, how does nobody know ice cream? But then there's,
yeah.
how does nobody know on, but on Bunny and then Raw and just a stand-up comedians have always been my, for me, laughter has healed me. Not even concerts. I go to comedy clubs. I don't,
Yeah.
comedy
Same.
laughter is just so, just, I don't know. It's just magic
Cool.
laughing.
Yeah.
I can't even hang out with people if they don't laugh. That's why I'm by myself a lot because most
I
people
What's
don't.
with those people? Who doesn't I don't understand.
That's why even
What are they
memes
doing?
crack me up. People, I don't know what they're doing, but they're not laughing. They're not watching Rodney Dangerfield or anything like old
What are
school.
they doing? That's what we need to figure out is what
What
are
people
these
are
people
doing if you're not
doing?
laughing. Uh-huh.
I
It's,
don't
I don't know, like SNL, like you're giving me a little bit of Kristen Wiig vibes. You ever hear? Okay, love it, same page. So Bridesmaids, obviously, if I'm in that
Yes,
mood.
it's my favorite.
But it was so funny. I was really depressed in 2019, I think it was. I wouldn't leave my bedroom, but I was scrolling on Instagram and someone said if you donate money for children in Chicago for Christmas, you can enter to go to SNL. And I was like, I'll always help children at
Of
Christmas.
course.
You
Yeah.
get SNL. So
Yeah,
then I get a
absolutely.
phone call and they're like, you won. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So Emma Stone was the host, and I
Ah,
cannot believe, and I'm like this iconic, like improv amazing world. I get to stand on this stage. It was 80 Bryan's charity. So
ah,
I'm on the stage and they're like, we love your energy. I'm like, I love your energy, SNL people. So
amazing.
it's just improv to me is something I think
Yeah,
everybody should take no matter what you do in your life.
career.
When I was, after everything I went through at 23, like I'm 19, and then I was married the first time, and I said, I want to be in commercials. I want to be an
Mm,
actress. Random. popped in my head out of nowhere. So then I
Right.
started to take every acting class in Miami, everyone, how to
Nice.
audition for camera, how to do this, how to work with a casting director, name it, improv, on film, off film. But I didn't get very far. I booked maybe 6 things, but it taught me how to stand up in front of people. So it was a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a confidence builder. And people, it's funny because people are afraid of improv because of the lack of confidence, but doing it brings so much confidence. It's like,
Oh, exactly. When you nail it, like when I first started doing my podcast with my daughter, she would, in the middle of it, get mad at me and stop. And I like, have you not been born into my womb that you know it's the game of back and forth? You just keep going, you don't stop. Oh, I was like, oh, because when I was a casting director, I loved watching all the comedians come in and just improv their scenes, and they all booked everything. I was not the model person at the agency. I liked more the character actors. I
yeah,
love
yeah.
character actors the
100%.
best. So anyway, so you became did you do comedy first or serious acting first?
Yeah, so I think I really was doing serious acting before comedy. And again, because in college I was afraid. And so I think because when you're scared, comedy is even more scary,
Yes.
right? Is that
Yep.
you're I had a great mentor, the head of the pit actually, Ali, um, who said a joke is a hypothesis. So
Mm,
you're testing something out, and if it lands, you go,
yep.
okay, this works. Or you try it and it doesn't work, and you go, nah, scrap that, let's move on. So I think in many ways, acting, when I first started acting, comedy was even more scary because it's that hypothesis. Like
Yep.
you really have to go the extra length to try things, take risks. And so
Yep.
it's really playing it safe at first, and that was fine. And I was cast a lot in college, and I did some work that I was very proud of. But one of my favorite roles was a comedic play called The Suicide, actually.
Love
A
it.
comedic,
I
yeah,
love it. See, I love dark
short
comedy.
play.
Love, right up my alley.
Yeah. And it was a Russian play, and it was just, I mean, it was
Yes.
farcical and wild. Yes, sign me up. And that was the moment for me, I think, that I was like, oh,
I love
you know,
this.
this laughter is feeding me. This is what I
Love,
need.
love.
And yeah, then the laughter sort of
It's
gives you
intoxicating.
permission. It's intoxicating, and it gives you permission to do it again,
Keep going. Yep.
right? It's a bit of a drug, so you go like, oh, I want more of that laughter. So then you'd start to try things because you want to find the funny and you want to make the people laugh, and it feels good. You know, it feels good to tell stories that make people think and cry, but
They
it feels even
resonate.
better. Yeah.
Exactly. Most comedians, I mean, I watched on Hulu or one of those, the history of comedians and the
Mm,
darkness. There's that line between tragedy, harmony, and if we don't find humor, we pew, pew.
yeah.
So it's remarkable how dark. I was watching from Sam Kinison. There was this
Yes.
whole every, and it was fascinating.
I watched this. The dark side of comedy, I think, is
Yes, yes, yes.
that one.
Loved it. Wasn't that like, wow? I didn't realize
Wild.
it how brave some of these comics were. And then the one, what's his name? His mom owned it at the candy store.
Oh, yeah. Wheeze in the juice. Oh, buddy, what's his
Oh,
name?
oh my
And
gosh.
Man.
The little guy. Oh my gosh. Cos.
Pauly Shore. Pauly Shore.
Holy short. Thank you. Thank you. His
To my
mom.
dick.
God, what she did for so many people's
Yeah.
careers as well. I mean, I love that you speak fluent comedy. I want to like bite you. You're so cute. Like literally.
Fight me. Just
Because
do it.
I could see you getting these, like I go to my casting director mode and I'm thinking how I would what every time a commercial comes on, the mom,
Yep. Yep.
the Disney mom, the not threatening mom, but the beautiful mom, lifestyle. I love it.
Same
But
mom type here.
the comedy, and I love that. And then so after you started doing more comedy, how did you get to start working with children? I'm gonna tell you why. Okay. I
Mhm.
love nothing more than kid actors, triple threat character actors.
Wow.
I am on the street and I will be, where's the mother? If it was a chubby, redheaded, funny kid, and I said, I'm not asking for money. This is not a scam. Call Barbara Stellar. Tell her Marni
Wow.
said to call, but your kid needs to be doing something. And they're like,
Amazing.
we tried and we paid so much money. I'm like, no. When I hear that, that they paid to these, TV land, come, we'll make your kid a star,
Yeah,
stupid
yeah.
nonsense.
Yeah, yeah. Those are awful.
It's horrible. I'm like, I'm here to make you money, and
Right.
so you being a coach is, I salivate from that because my daughter, when she was 8 years old, we are from Miami. So Junior Talent, it was a management office and they represented Victoria Justice. So my
Right.
daughter had the personality. She was a dancer, performer. I'm like triple threat. I'm making her into Britney. This was it.
Do it.
I was doing it. So then
Yeah.
I take her to the meeting and she sits there like this with a pencil. She didn't want to be there. And I'm like, Taylor,
Oh.
okay. And then she was like playing with this and tapping. She didn't want to be there. And the moms I'm talking about, and my dreams were crushed. My dreaming,
Oh.
she didn't want it. And I guess in a
Yeah.
good way for her mental state, because she's neurotic, she couldn't have handled the child into the teenager where you're not accepted
Okay.
and wanted, where they all go on drugs, Buffy and Jody, etc. So
That's yeah, that is hard. Yeah, for sure.
so it worked out. So what is your I'm going to go back to you being in comedy and stuff because that's just my favorite thing. Who inspired you? Which female comedian? Is there anyone that you looked and you were just obsessed?
So many. I like I said, I grew up watching Lucille Ball, the Carol Burnett show. We had what is it? Nick at Night on all the time. So Mary Tyler Moore,
Oh, see,
all
my
of these.
daughter didn't get the reference when I said throw your hat up when you go to Minneapolis. She's like, what? So, and
She's-
Lucille Ball, you know what she said? She goes, I'm not funny. She goes, I'm brave.
yeah.
Isn't I that was so oh my gosh. And I just watched Palm Royale with Carol Burnett because it's Cal I
Mhm.
don't know if you watched it. It's dry at the beginning, but it's
Yeah.
Kristen Wiig and Allison Janney and Carol
Oh,
Burnett. Oh,
okay, I haven't seen this.
it's on Apple Mac.
What is
Apple
it called again?
Palm Royale.
Palm Royale.
Palm, like palm trees.
Palm. Palm.
Yeah, it takes place in Palm
Oh,
Beach.
Palm Royale.
Palm
Okay.
Royale, yeah, in the 70s when they all come from New York,
Uh,
Florida.
New York to Florida. Perfect. Okay. Oh yeah, I need to see that.
Oh my gosh, it is so good.
Yeah, and just the physicality. I mean, the Lucille Ball being a dancer and Carol Burnett being a singer and a dancer. It's like it gives you hope. Like I said, I grew up not doing theater, but doing these other things and singing and dancing, and it's like, oh, actually, it's the same. Comedy, physical comedy is dance. It's a dance,
Yeah.
and it's
And
timing, and it's
Molly Shannon,
oh, Shannon.
just,
Yeah,
I mean, I just,
yeah.
those sketches. And the one that stands out, you probably know, was when Whitney Houston, where they were singing the Christmas Carol. I think it was SNL when it was either Rosie O'Donnell with Penny Marshall, I think, and they were singing Christmas. Oh man, and then Molly Shannon just was jumping into the bleachers with she couldn't sing with Whitney. It was a funny Molly Shannon-esque physical comedy in
Yeah.
her little but those women on SNL, which I just think of, you just are giving me like those cast vibes, I guess. I don't know,
I
maybe.
would, yeah, I would love to do SNL. Right,
Right.
we all.
Just
That's the New
yeah, I
York.
tell you, it hasn't been so great lately. Some of the sketches are, they brought Maya Rudolph on. It was like, yes. But it's been
Maya Rudolph hosting was magical. That was my heyday. I think the Molly Shannon, the Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, Molly Shannon era into yeah the
right.
Kristen Wiig. I mean Kristen Wiig. I saw a lot of myself in her, and
Right. I love how I can, when I say it, I'm right on with people. Like I have this eye for talent.
yeah, I do.
It really is. I mean, I would be the talent scout, like for real people,
Yeah,
commercials. So I would be, hey, you want to come do this? And I don't know, I could see who's going to book things. I knew when I was a judge in the Miss Florida pageant, I'm like, oh, the second I sat down with her, I was like, oh, you have it in the bag, but
yeah,
no. But it's just, I have a great eye for talent because not many have it. Not many kids have that sparkle, that triple threat, that
right,
theater kids, the ones who want to be there. So
right.
I love that you coach the kids that obviously want to be there,
Mhm.
not that are, I'm sure some are forced, but the ones who genuinely want to learn their craft, I love really.
Yeah, those are a lot. Yeah, a lot of the kids I coach, these kids work hard, and like you said, they have it. It's it's not that their parents are sort of going like, oh, I've decided this for you. It's like the kids want it, and they are almost like little adults, but in a child body. Like you talk to them, and you're like, I don't know if you ever saw any of Dakota Fanning's interviews when she was very young, but it was the same way with her. Like you're like, this is a child, but she seems like an
Little
adult.
adult, way just like way beyond her years, just way beyond.
Yeah, old
Old
soul.
soul. That's what I was trying to say. An old soul. Wow. Like what
Wow.
was it? Drew Barrymore? I just watched her little interview on Johnny Carson, and oh gosh, yeah, it was just this poor baby girl what she went through. I just want to hug her too.
I know.
But
And
she,
that's probably why she's so physical and huggy now, right?
you
She's
know
like,
what? I want to sit there with my legs crossed, going, "I get it, Drew. Bring it, bring it. Let me hug you."
it's
And
tough.
Fran Drescher is my idol, my
Mhm.
worship. I tried to be her in the '90s.
Yeah,
She
who didn't?
Thank you. Thank
Right? Like,
you.
let's just go clean houses and be a fabulous, like,
I am going to tell you, but I am going to tell you
costume.
a very funny story because you can appreciate this since Fran Drescher, and I know you could talk exactly like her and everything. So, I was in New York, and oh crap, I forgot to go get my kids candy. So it was sweatshirt, hair in a bun, messy. I go to Dylan's Candy, and I said to my husband, I'm going to go upstairs and get a coffee, and he was at the bottom doing candy stuff. So all of a sudden, I see a man walk behind the wall, and I go, Morty? And he's like, yeah. I go, you're Fran's father. I go, you understand? I watched you every time on the Rosie show with your early bird specials, and you live in Sunrise where my Aunt Jeannie used to live. And I have the same Moschino skirt that Fran had and the boots, and I love her. And oh my God. And he goes, you want to meet her? What?
Ah!
He goes, she's in the cupcake room doing a book signing.
What?
Now I didn't go to New York to meet her. This was,
Wow.
oh my gosh. So I walk in and I'm crying, and her mom was there, Sylvia. She goes, Mamala, do you need an aspirin? And hugging me, I'm crying in Fran Drescher's arms. So
Amazing.
it was
Who
such a,
better to cry in their arms?
and she was one of the nicest celebrities about it. She
Mhm.
wasn't bitchy. She wasn't, her and Josh Gad. Josh Gad,
Mhm.
after every, because I am such a theater fan, after every show I go to, local or Broadway, I always go to the stage door. I don't care who you are. I love them, love them, love them, love, love them. So it was after Book of Mormon, and
Mhm.
I went backstage, and I'm standing there, and this girl's like, I talked to everybody, and she said, I want to go say hi to Josh. I grew up with him, but I don't want to be rude. I go, where'd you grow up? She goes, Hollywood, Florida. I go, huh. I go, security. I go, tell Josh Gad that. I go, what's your name? She goes, Danielle Johnson from elementary school is here.
Wow.
So the security guard comes back, goes, who's Danielle Johnson? We both go, me. So now we're on the stage with Josh Gad,
Oh
like,
my God.
he's holding my umbrella. Okay, right after book, and I'm like, okay, one dream, let me process. I'm on a Broadway stage. And then
Yeah.
I said, I'm doing my calculations. I go, how come did I audition you when you grew up in Florida? Because your age. Goes, my mother wouldn't let me have an agent. I
Oh,
go, that's why you're so delicious. That's why. Just he wasn't. Oh, I remember these mothers when they would bring their kids on callbacks. One didn't like the jelly. She goes, "You're going to eat the Smucker's jelly." It was a SAG National Disney merged with Smucker's. And the kid
yeah.
didn't like strawberry, and she was going to shove
Oh
it down his mouth.
no. Oh my God.
And so, but it's funny, what you teach is what I inadvertently kind of did with my daughter growing up behind the scenes, which
Hmm.
gives her, not even if she never booked anything, the confidence and the
Yeah.
personality and just the inhibition to be
Right.
themselves.
Just to try and just to
But
like put yourself out there and try. You don't have to be anybody that you're not. Just do your thing and be proud of it and like set
it,
it out there.
what did you get your SAG card? What was it that you first?
I actually am not SAG. I've been SAG
Oh,
eligible for the longest time.
you know what though? You could do both. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Speaking of Fran Drescher, like during the strike, I was following everything that she was saying because my goal is to be SAG. I'm just
Well, yeah,
right
hold
now
on.
I'm able to audition for both, and
Yeah, exactly.
about 70% of commercials, national commercials now, are non-union.
Yep.
So because my background is comedy and I do commercials, it's been smart to, or I believe it's been smart. My agents agree, but to stay non-union so that I do have the option
Really,
to
of
work.
course. Yep.
Um,
It's like somebody, I was watching one of those holiday commercials and I said to my husband, I like speak fluent commercial. I go, I hope someone didn't get their SAG card just for that. You know, the people that, oh, I booked like Mother's Day, let me join SAG. And I'm like, oh,
don't do
people
it. Yeah, I would say don't do it
don't
after one
know.
thing because you limit yourself. And I know so many people and I've had so many students who got their SAG card doing background work and they
Yeah,
have nothing on their resume except for you can't put background work on your resume. So they can't get these legit roles
exactly.
because they don't really have the
What,
legit experience. And it's
what
like, yeah,
was,
no, just wait. There's no rush. And,
what
so
was
yeah,
your,
for years I've been
what was
SAG.
the biggest commercial that you booked or the first one, your first SAG National or your first regional or whatever?
Yeah. Let's see. There've been a bunch. I mean, like I tend to book the things, like you said, like the Kristen Wiig things. I tend to
Okay.
get the things where it's like we need somebody who can make a funny face and a reaction.
Got you. So
Or
you
just
do good
naturally who
deadpan.
makes funny reactions. So I
Good
have like
deadpan.
a JC Penney commercial where I'm like hiding gifts and
Love it. Oh, right.
I'm like, don't these are not gifts. I don't know.
No,
And
you
then
do great facials. Obsessed.
yeah. And then I have one that was for it's a I think it might be still running. It's for like a credit company. And so it's something like something as easy as pie and I'm baking and the spokesperson is talking through it and I'm literally just shooting myself with flour. They've rigged up this mixer to
Right.
shoot, and I have to control it. So I have to literally push this button and know that it's going to shoot flour into my face. That's probably the wildest commercial that for 8 hours I shot flour into my own face.
Was that a union commercial?
Say it again.
Was it a union commercial? Or
I don't even remember. It was a few years ago.
I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy to ever do back ex non-union extra work. I
I know.
one time in 1994, one day, and I said, this is the most, it's inhumane the
It's
way
I did it once with you. I did it once, yeah.
one time that was it. It's just it's horrible, 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 horrible. And oh gosh, when I see certain things, it's like, don't do that, trust me.
Yeah,
Don't, you know,
not worth it.
if you're going to be an extra, make sure that it's SAG extra. Because when
Yeah.
my daughter and I, like, we literally study commercials, like, oh look, their face is seen, they get money. I'm like, yep, that's right, you want to get that upgrade and not blurred out face.
Right.
And it's just my whole, when I would cast, I went from being a casting director, then my boss closed up, and then I became an agent. And I remember going, ugh, now I have to be an agent from a casting director. Right? I know, like I'm so superior. But I knew how the actors auditioned. I
Right.
knew what the production thought of each actor. So it
Yeah,
made me sending them out so much easier because I
that's a
knew,
good yeah, that's a
yeah,
good position to be in of
very
seeing
good.
casting and moving into um managing talent or
Being an
repping
agent.
talent. Yeah.
The one of the craziest stories is because when you want to tell your, I know we all want to go something and book something, but if it doesn't happen, there are so many reasons. And one of my favorite stories is we did the Verizon's. The Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Hmm, hmm.
So
Yeah.
this was a SAG national callback, and it was for a dad washing his car with his two daughters. So the last girl on callback, the director was just having fun with her. How'd you get here? She goes, oh, I came with my brother. Oh, bring them in. They start talking. They book the brother and the sister on the spot.
Yeah.
So as good as anyone's audition might have been,
Right.
it has nothing to do with you. You could be the
No.
best actress, but if that little girl has blonde hair, you're out, you
Yeah.
know, and it's hard. It's very hard because people take rejection so personally. But I
Yeah.
tell them, even if you're on a casting, that's a win. Getting
Right.
an agent is a win. You
Oh,
know,
for
you
sure.
can just walk in and get an agent. It's very
No.
difficult. So I just used to have fun going on auditions. That was
Yeah.
my
You
thing.
have to. You have to. Because I mean, that's the thing. That's most of the job. This is what's hard, especially for the kids, is that you do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of auditions and they go, well, can I get some feedback from the casting director? I'm like, they're not going to give you feedback. The feedback is they're still calling you in.
Yep.
uh,
They
you got
didn't
the
push
call back.
stop. They pushed
You didn't
record
push
when you went
stop.
there.
you keep seeing them, right? You've seen this person over and over again. You didn't book the job, but they like you. They're bringing you in. You're doing something right. Just keep doing it because it is hard. And I think it's harder now after the pandemic. Now that self tapes are the new norm. So we used to go in person for all auditions or almost all auditions. And now they send you instructions and you take your phone and you record it and you edit it and you send it back to them
Wow.
and
So
they
it's
can
like
see.
casting directors are like not even like almost non-existent really and stuff for these some of them. Wow.
Yeah, and they're there, they're watching all of the tapes, but I've heard them say they can see 3 times as many actors as they were seeing in
Yeah, then
person. 'Cause they can
personally,
watch a couple seconds of your tape and go, no, that's not right. I'll see another tape.
that's
Um,
true. Wow. Yeah, and it makes the auditioning also easier because you don't have to go by SAG guidelines and running over. And like I am
yeah,
so nice. I would fill people in, and my boss would get mad because we get fined because one, I talk to everybody in the waiting room, and then I'm filling people in because how can I not? You can only give 3 time slots to agent ABC, but they have 5 great moms. I have to bring them in. So it's just not even luck. It's just being prepared when opportunity is there. And if it's meant to book a role, you're going to book it. But it's never about these people. I've seen it. Like the production people will be like, you know what? She looks like my mother. No.
yeah,
Or like, I mean, brutally honest. They're like, oh, you know what? I worked with her. His voice, oh, cringy. No,
right,
could have been the best actor. But
right. And
so,
somebody else could love that person's voice.
right? It
This
was
person hates it. It's like, yeah,
the best part about doing all of this is I guess I was in my mid 20s, 27, 28, and I was auditioning. It was like Yoplait, SAG National, but they only wanted male models. So I was just feeding them yogurt. I remember eating all grades in between after every single, and by the end of the day, it would bleh. But it was like so cool how I stepped into this world
right,
of acting and productions and film sets. And it's just a world that very few people can understand and appreciate a good audition, a good monologue, a
yeah.
good comedic monologue. I mean, I don't know your very first monologue. Mine was chorus line, Val. I just got off the bus and it was just so bad. It was the worst. Do you have like a favorite monologue you've ever done?
Oh my gosh. I haven't done a monologue in so long. I'm trying to think of, I started doing, okay, so I got so tired of, you see a lot of the same monologues over and over again. And I ended up pulling materials from books I was reading instead of plays.
Gotcha.
And the funny thing is, I got this tip from somebody else, and they were like, you know what, this is from, um, oh, it was a friend. It was a friend in grad school, actually. Her name is Valerie, and she was doing a monologue from The Princess Bride, but it was from the book instead of the
Oh,
film
gotcha.
because the film didn't have this monologue in it, and I was like, oh, this is genius. And I started doing some of that, and you realize like no one knows if this is from a play or a book. You go in and you're like, I'm going to do a monologue from, and you say the name of the book and the author.
And they
And
believed
they're
in
like,
you,
oh, okay, mm-hmm.
right? And you're like,
I
it
think
was
I
really,
saw that. That was off Broadway 2 years ago.
that is so funny.
No one wants to be like the person who doesn't know what's going on, so they're
Right. So they're
just
like, oh, of course, we know exactly. Of course I read that. How
like,
would
do more
you
options and
exactly, how would you describe your humor in three words? Your
keywords.
sense of humor in 3 words.
Hmm. I would say clown,
Love it.
self-deprecating,
Love,
and joy.
love it. Love it. I keep looking at you and I'm thinking you are half Kristen Wiig meets Molly Shannon. I
Yes,
am upset. You are just so adorable. Like you are, I guess I just
they
see,
actually did birth me. They both gave
right?
me eggs, and
Awesome, great genes. Let me tell
that's
you,
how that works, right?
genetically. And Loot is another good show with Maya Rudolph. It's on Apple. She's left by her husband who's a billionaire. So you have Maya Rudolph left like Jeff Bezos' wife or whatever her name is,
Okay.
or
Yeah.
it's really funny. It's like that new edgy kind of style comedy, not old slapstick comedy.
Yeah. Although I do love the slapstick as well.
Love my
I
classics.
will
No, I was
say,
about to say I am a fan of slapstick comedy. Other people, when I hear that, I can watch TV Land forever.
same.
Name a show, and if it like new, not many people can. When I say Newhart had one of the best endings in history of TV. Again, my daughter's like, "What are you talking about? You don't understand. He had a dream." And so there's
Yeah.
so many different kinds of sitcoms that again, I Love Lucy was truly, I think, the
Oh,
epitome.
iconic. Yeah.
Just there isn't even she's like the Taylor Swift of comedy or something, but
Yeah.
how she's inspired so many people to take that first step and for women to be
Yeah.
funny because like in those stories, those documentaries, women can't be funny and to get on those stages were just wow,
Yeah.
really
It's also
inspiring.
so, that's such a weird concept to me because, so I'm actually at a college, I'm teaching a comedy class right now it's a genre studies class. So it's not an acting class, but we're researching comedy throughout the years and talking about
Oh, wow.
topics. Yeah. And I'm like, where's this idea? This is actually an essay, option for them. It's like, where does this idea come from? Because if we look back, women have always been on the scene and they've always been funny, but
Mhm.
somewhere along the way, we've started to like get the notion that they're not. If you look back, even like Buster Keaton, if you look back at
Mhm.
his vaudeville career, it was with his mom and dad. So it's
Yeah.
like, it wasn't
George
like just
Burns
his
and
dad.
Gracie. George Burns with Gracie.
Yeah, Gracie Allen. Yeah, exactly. I mean, as far back as I don't know, we've sort of it's like I guess the pendulum swings and it swung one way and now we're like, oh no, women aren't funny. But it's like you historically there's all this proof, you've got Mae West and
Oh,
she's like
come up and see me sometime.
and Charlie Chaplin's one of the first directors of his work was a female director, and it's like we forget all of this.
So ahead of their time. She was like a penny marshal way before the penny marshals.
Right. So, we sort of like gloss over, I don't know, we ignore these women for some reason. And it's like, no, they've always been there and they've been on the scene and they've been fighting and doing their thing. And I don't know why we don't think about that or
Really?
some people don't think about it. I do. I think about them, but
I love Melissa McCarthy. The
uh,
the role, I mean, forgetting all of them, but in Bridesmaid especially, the when they let them just do their own stuff and how they go so deep with their improv of laughter.
hilarious.
Like This Is 40, I think it was also with Paul Rudd and um
Hmm. His
whatever.
wife,
Thank
no,
you.
no, Judd Apatow's wife,
Judd Apatow's wife, Leslie Mann. Okay.
Leslie Mann, there
For
it
a
is.
hundred. Okay.
Yeah.
They when they just you watch them in the background just peeing so much and just they're so sharp. Like improv to keep it going and not just bite you. I am going to devour and eat your like how you just keep it going and keep it going. And these ladies just on this platform, it's
Mhm.
just a testimony to, I think, cheers, ladies, keep bringing the funny, all of them.
Absolutely.
Yay!
Right.
So I am going to end this on just I love you, I adore you. I am one of your hugest
Yeah.
fans.
Oh my God.
You found my book in Long Island, which I was there in East
Okay.
Long Island 2 years ago and scattered my book around. And if you were one of the person that found,
Ooh.
cause that's where she found my book. I left them on trains everywhere 2 years ago in the Hamptons and like
Oh,
throughout.
yeah, that might have been where I might have found these Easter egg books.
Uh-huh. That
Now I feel like I got the golden ticket.
You did, Willy Wonka. You did. Wow. Well, okay, guys, if you don't know Brooke Turner, please check her out. This is just for everybody listening. I didn't even get to ask you, which I am going to now, about Pamela that's on Amazon. Was that
Yeah.
a dramatic role or was that more of a comedic role? Was it both?
Yeah, it's sort of a dark comedy.
Or comedy? That's why I was not sure.
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely got drama. It's got comedy, but the comedy is it's a family drama,
Love it.
which is funny, right?
Oh,
Because
hello.
you've got this, especially this mother-daughter relationship, and I think that's such a complicated relationship for so many of us. And so they're trying their best, but they don't really understand each other. And so it's cringe in a lot of ways, but it's heartfelt in a lot of ways. And but there's humor in that. I mean, the fact that these two women just can't, they're so much alike, and yet they can't So
Oh,
you see
yeah.
eye to eye, and they're fighting with that. And then the brother is there too, and they all are trying to like balance and mix after the passing of their father. So that's
Oh,
yeah,
okay. That's a good story. Interesting when you have those characters.
yeah.
Maybe
It
that's very
was
like,
such great character work. Yeah,
oh, that's like one of those good movies or one of those good like oh, I'm thinking of a particular lifetime name of something. It'll hit me when I hang up with you and I'll be like walking my dog and I'll be like, that's
yeah.
it. But
No,
you are just
I
you are the sweetest, most delicious, adorable. By reading my book and the fact that I've inspired you, just I love you for that. Thank you for being inspired by me. Thank
yeah,
you.
thank you for inspiring and writing. And I want to get back. I've been writing and working on a project, and talking to you today actually is it gives me a little inspiration because I'm like I do need to get back to that. And
Yes, because you have something and you have this sparkle and you have this je ne sais quoi about you or whatever the word I'm looking for. And I can see your students loving you. I would cast you in 2 seconds. I mean, I say, can I have your name? My name's Brooke Turner. Like I could just see the way you say it. Exactly. You could bring the stats, you could be your badass, you could be the mom next door. You
yeah,
are across the board. I mean, so being the agent in me is just, I'd have you on my wall in 2 seconds, obviously. So I guess that's it. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Of course, I'm going to talk to you on Instagram now all the
yeah.
time. So if I
Oh,
start stalking you, apologize in advance.
please do. I need more stalkers. I do.
Okay, perfect. You got one right here. And Brianna, my assistant, we both adore you. So we will be the stalkers. We will be stalking you.
Great, great.
Awesome.
I'm trying to collect stalkers, so that's perfect.
Love it. You also, you know, your mom, have you watched, of course, Hacks?
Hacks, yes.
Okay, Deborah Vance. I just saw Hannah Einbinder on an interview, and you're a little Hannah Einbinder-ish on that trend kind of vibe. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Like a
Hmm.
little edgy, but not like I don't know. Now I'm dissecting you like I am going to create the most perfect role for you. But
Great.
I'm speaking it in the
I'm
universe
for
that
it.
this book is something special and
You
spectacular.
know, actors love to just hear people talk about us. So
If
like,
I had a
I'm soaking it
spotlight,
up.
I would roll out the red carpet next time. We're gonna have red carpet ready in our premiere
Yes,
somewhere.
I want it. That's what I
Thank you,
want.
my friend. You are a delight and a doll, and thank you so much for joining me on my show.
Thank you. This has been so fun. Thanks so much.